And do you remember, Nick, you were when we started looking at Firebirds,
Yes.
you knew quite a lot about the legends about Firebirds,
Yes.
the Russian birds and the phoenixes and
Phoenix,
everything.
yes.
And you were able to share that with the group for people who didn't
Yes.
know it, weren't you?
Yes, I was. For people who didn't know it, actually, I would share it with them, actually. It would come, actually, I watched it in on that wizard called that boy with Harry Potter.
Yes.
Actually, I saw the phoenix come out of the ashes then, and actually it weeps tears. Actually, I just drawed it in a book actually, and it's got tears. There's a healing. It can heal.
So what colours did you use for the Firebird piece that you painted here?
All kinds of different colours, and then I took it home actually, and I put it onto a book.
Yeah, you actually took work back home and made it into a book of phoenixes, didn't you, Nick?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've done the tears as well.
Lovely.
And I've done it small coming out of the egg,
Yeah.
being hatched actually, and then there's the steam coming out.
Oh, thank you.
The legend is the fire actually, it is reborn.
Which is
What do you mean? Yeah, the Firebirds. Yeah, we did them in the public hall, didn't we? And there was quite a few of us, and there was Alan done his as well, which was nice, wasn't it? And I done mine on the other side, and it's we done birds, and we done about 3 or 4 of them, didn't we? And then we did them on like a piece of card, didn't we? And then I think we done them quite a few that day, and I think we done them in that week as well, didn't we?
it did
Yeah.
quite a long
Yeah,
time. to
it
prepare.
did take quite a while,
Quite a few
and
weeks.
it was nice colours in it, wasn't it?
I can't remember how many pages there are on it offhand. But it's a soft cotton fabric book, which, without looking up the dimensions, I couldn't tell you. But it fits in your hands if you hold your hands out flat. It's square, and if you fold the pages out, it's actually stitched down the middle, so you could sort of hold it open with a page in each hand. A lot of the actual images themselves are flat, so you can't actually feel if you were to run your hands over it. And I'm very keen for people to handle it. There are a lot of things on the pages you can feel. There are a lot of raised edges that are stitched around some of the images, so you can actually feel some of it. Most of the pages have human figures in them. Sections of the human figures have areas which have been deleted, that's probably the best way to say it, so that the background of the book itself is sort of a white blank, and there are lots of sections in the figures which aren't there, so they just are the same as the background, and other sections are quite flat sort of silhouettes, so it's almost as if those sections have been deleted, but sort of in a contrasting way rather than merging with the background. But most of the figures are sort of intertwined with various bits of framing and stitches, most of which you can feel. There are just some areas of the prints which are quite flat. The book is white cotton fabric, and on it is printed images in black and red, and over the printed images it's stitched in black, white and red, and has other patches of white fabric. It's a mixture of, this one is printed directly from a printer onto fabric, some of it, and some of it's printed onto transfer film.
The first piece the first piece within the entire piece of work is Exploded Myth. So how would you talk about that?
The first piece of film that you see is Exploded Myth, and this is a mini documentary which shows Richard Lee, who's the Mayor of Taunton Deane, enjoying the fun at Wellington Spectacular, climbing towers, go-karting, and trying out a range of activities. Very little holds him back. He's got his guide dog Ramble with him, who accompanies him everywhere, and it's his spirit really that keeps him going. The second piece is called Disability Deconstructed, and this is about Richard Pitman and his wife and stepson, and the dog features in this also. He's called Bertie. And it's just a glimpse into their life and how Richard overcomes his disability, really. It's just very ordinary, but he's quite extraordinary, and given the disability that he overcomes. And in the film, it's a split screen, and on the right-hand side of the screen, it's a sort of slow motion film of the family taking the wheelchair apart, which is a sort of metaphorical way of deconstructing disability. And on the left, it's just his very ordinary life, and having a glimpse into it. I was very inspired by Richard Pitman in the Disability Deconstructed. He seems to find ways of coping with his impairment he used to be a builder, and he's installed a lift himself in his house, and he's adapted his van so that he can go off and tour around Britain, and nothing holds him back. He has a job, and he's married and hoping to have children himself.
The piece I've made is a map of Cornwall, and where the granite exposes through the rocks in Cornwall, instead of having a flat map, what I've done is I've cut the copper into the exact shape of where the granite comes to the surface, and I took the piece of copper, before I did anything else to it, down to Cornwall, and I sat on the beach on Christmas Day, and I found different granite pebbles to poke in these holes, and when I found the right pebbles I brought it back, and then in the college I beat the copper around these pebbles, so it's got raised patches where the granite sticks out, and written in braille are the spaces in between, the names of each of the exposures, like Land's End and Bodmin and St Austell. How's that?
And the piece and also the piece that they've actually chosen to put in the show, though, is not the final piece that you made, is it?
No, it's the proposal. The piece,
Yeah.
I've actually made the final pieces anyway, but the pieces they put in are the drawn proposals. I'd never written a proposal before, so I just drew one the best I could, and added some of these word things to it to describe what was going on. So they're actually just illustrations of the proposal for the finished piece of artwork.